The End Times by the Ancient Church Fathers is a book I wrote to research what they taught and believed about the end times that we don't already know. We talk about the first century church fathers and what they believed in general, and then the specific teachings of Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Hippolytus, and Ephrem. Hippolytus actually wrote 2 books on end-time prophecy, The Antichrist and On the End of the World. And Ephrem wrote The End Times. These 3 small books are reproduced in their entirety in this book. The general teachings are that there would be a 6,000-year time of man's history and then a millennial reign. So we want to mark where that 6,000-year AM is on our calendar. They taught premillennialism, a pre-tribulational rapture. The Roman Empire would dissolve and then reform into 10 nations, and the abomination of desolation, which is happening by the Antichrist in the end times. Irenaeus specifically listed the 6,000-year plan, mentioned that he was premillennial, mentioned a pre-tribulational rapture, the Roman Empire being split in 2, dissolved, and then the 10 nations arising, the abomination of desolation. But he mentioned that the end time actually begins when the children of Israel come back into their land. We know this to be 1948, so that would, according to him, would be the start of the birth pangs. He mentioned that the Antichrist would be from the tribe of Dan, and like the other church fathers explained, that's where he's born, in the ancient area of the tribe of Dan. So we know where the Antichrist would be born. He mentioned the number 666. When he didn't fully understand it, he asked the Apostle John to explain it to him, and he recorded what the Apostle John told him about this number. Ephrem on the end times talked about Rome being divided and then dissolved. He mentioned a pre-tribulational rapture. He mentioned in the middle time period, worthless desert nations arise. This is the arise of Islam. It's mentioned as the dragon nations in the Ezra apocalypse. He talks about the origin of the 10 nations and the Antichrist, again coming from the area where the tribe of Dan was, where he would be born. And he mentions the Psalm 83 war. Hippolytus on the Antichrist talks about the Antichrist being from the tribe of Dan, being called the Assyrian. He completely explains Daniel's visions, the kingdom against the Antichrist, those 3 kingdoms. He names which ones they are, 3 of the 10 that rebel against him. He mentions the harlot church of Revelation and Isaiah, explains those, the timing of the 2 witnesses, and how Tyre, Beirut, Jordan, and Ethiopia are captured in the Antichrist wars. He mentions the sun-clad woman, the 2 halves of the tribulation period, so we know they all believe in a 7-year tribulation period. And again, he mentions the pre-trib rapture. In his second book, On the End of the World, he talks about the church's apostasy, the end-time church being described as being deceived and what they go through, the signs and the false Christs, the heresies in the church, the Antichrist deception, the Antichrist wars, the false signs, the mark of the beast, and the Antichrist and the 2 witnesses. So I hope you will enjoy this book, and again, it's very enlightening to see what the ancient church fathers mentioned and believed and said that they were taught by the apostles about the end times.